into the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello everybody! Welcome back to Grey's Anatomy's AfterBuzz TV After Show. Today we are doing Old Time Rock and Roll, episode 4. I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. Obviously, Julie Parton is not here, but don't worry, she'll be back. Joining me, I have...
Oh, hi, I'm Tara, and I'm back.
Yes,
You're
you
back.
are.
I've missed you guys.
We're glad
missed
you're
you.
here, and I'm Jay. Good to see you. So you're back. I was so happy to watch the show next to you tonight.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It was definitely a good episode.
Yeah, overall, really quickly, what were your thoughts? Tara, let's start with you.
This episode to me felt very real. I mean, I know when the show premiered, I was the one who commented and said it's so strange they're not mentioning Derek at all. And this was like the first time they started like really speaking of him and what happened. Like I kind of understood toward the end of the episode why they started bringing it back, but at least it felt real, like what Meredith really is dealing with, and the fact that someone else referenced her children that have been completely missing this entire season. So it just felt like much more of an authentic journey that Meredith is going on.
Right. Jay, how about you?
Overall, I thought it was good. You know, it didn't blow me away, but I think it was a good, like, solid episode. They revealed a lot more about Stephanie's story, which is good. And you know, she's a character that hopefully we're gonna get to hear more about this season. So overall, I thought it was a good quality episode.
I agree. I really enjoyed this episode. I think I say it every week. Grey's Anatomy does such a great job of balancing humor with drama,
Right.
and there was a lot of both tonight. And we'll start with a storyline that had both humor and drama. The Silver Flood. All right, I have to ask you: is this what you thought it would be? The way they built it up.
Well, so okay, here's the thing. When they first said, you know, they talk like we have a silver flood. It's like, okay, I feel like I've been researching this show and I don't that doesn't ring a bell. I don't know what, but they kept talking about it like. And so it made me feel like a loser.
Right.
I was like, I guess I don't know what it is, and I'm gonna have to like fake it when we get on the review tonight.
So patients will be irritable.
Yes. And then luckily, they revealed that it was we were not supposed to know what it was, but it was funny. It's a funny shtick.
Isn't it crazy how every time they mention Silver Flood, it has like a nature connotation to it, flood. And we've seen so many natural disasters in the show. Like, we're automatically conditioned to think, oh, what's the next natural disaster that can happen?
That's what I was like, okay, is there like a Mercury mudslide, like something plane crashed and silver
Seattle,
got everywhere?
It always rains.
Yeah.
I couldn't think. I was like, what hasn't happened on this show? What's left? And I was like, it's too early in the season for something like that to happen. So I was completely confused.
Well, and they were like not really freaking out about it that much.
Yeah.
So okay, it can't be that bad. And it wasn't.
And I loved how they built it up. It was all personality traits to look out for, not like not so much like physical. I mean, there were some physical from Callie saying like, "Hey, there's splints and broken limbs and whatnot," but it was more personality traits. Beware, they're irritable. They're going to be questioning all this. They're going to be.
I wish they would have taken like a little bit farther and been like, "Go, you get extra Jello ready right now." You know what I mean? Like, I wish they would have gone a little bit farther with it.
Awesome.
But I love how they showed, and because the fact that our like generation, because the population is becoming so much older, things that when we were growing up we didn't expect. The one was like, I have an orgasm every day since I was 15.
You a lie?
What?
You a lie?
I was like, what?
And don't grandparents always bring up those issues? You know.
Yeah. With no qualms whatsoever.
None.
They're not ashamed.
Right.
And I loved how there was the whole generational gap.
Right.
We had the older generation, and then we had this new up-and-coming intern generation in this, and just we saw how the interns learn how to deal with just patients in general, whether it be elderly or just regular patients. And I loved that teaching element that they brought to the show.
Yeah, and you know, I think it was cool. I think they use it as a vehicle to kind of teach the younger the younger generation of doctors in the show a little bit about love and a little bit about relationships and commitment. And I think that they use them as a vehicle to teach all that stuff, which is cool.
I think this episode is so much about perspective and understanding someone else's perspective. So like Abe talking to Arizona gave her a totally new outlook on what could possibly happen to her life. I mean, Abby, was that her name? The woman who gave
There was Gabby and Abe.
Oh,
and Gab, yeah.
You combine the two names right there. You're like,
look at me doing it automatically.
Abby, Gaby.
So like Abe, him talking to Arizona, and then Gabby talking to and making Meredith think about things about herself too, and Maggie. So it's like just a different perspective. Hearing someone's perspective on how they're taking on life and love makes you think about yourself.
Yeah, what did you think of this relationship? I really liked Abe to the point I was like, I shouldn't like him too much, and shouldn't have gotten too attached to him.
And here's the deal: anytime Grey's makes you like a character, then when it's a patient, just accept the fact they're gonna die. If you like them, if you get connected to them, they are going to die. This episode, it's gonna happen. And what happened with Abe? He freaking died.
He died.
What did I tell you?
We had 5 minutes with him.
Come
we
on.
already loved him, and we left him for 5 minutes, and he's gone.
Can't they just end up surviving and nothing dramatic happens and they just go home?
No.
Just once, Shonda, please.
And I feel so bad for Arizona because we've seen all these episodes. She's kind of lonely. She's not really dating anyone, and the fact that she actually gets a patient to talk about things and get her to reconsider love again,
right?
Just from a 5-minute conversation, I was like, "Aw."
Well, and real quick, I gotta press pause because this was bothering me the whole episode.
Okay.
So here's the thing that I wonder: whenever they bring these old people in, do you think the old people get the joke? They're
Elderly. Let's be nice.
So senior citizens, excuse me. Do you think that they understand, in real life, the joke that hey, we're kind of making fun of you because you're old? You think they get it when they bring these old actors in? You know what I'm saying?
But is it really I don't know, is it really a joke? I think it's a different perspective. I think they're showing us that life isn't over. I mean, these people are on a singles cruise trying to hook up. I mean, in the news they talk all the time now about the highest rate of STDs are in retirement homes.
What?
No,
it's true.
Seriously.
No way.
In assisted living homes, the highest rate of STDs today are in people who are
Grandma.
over 55.
They don't worry
Grandma.
about unprotected sex and all that.
Yeah. I think it gives a different. I mean, I don't know if the joke was on them or if the joke was on us because they were like, we're really living life.
Maybe we're the losers.
You're
Maybe
the ones
we're the
who are really
losers.
holding yourself back. We're living life and really doing it up the way it should be done.
That's true.
And I don't think it was a joke at all because if anything, the elderly generation is supposed to still teach upon the younger and teach their ways and the wisdom, and I think we still got that.
Yeah,
still look forward to things in the future, be open to everything, and I mean, I definitely came away with that message.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to wait until I'm 85 to fall in love, but if all I have to do is go on a singles cruise and a dude sees me from across the room and says I take his breath away, hey man, get your moment anywhere you can.
No matter what age.
No matter what age.
You could be 85 and that's what happened to
apparently, that's what, if we can learn one thing from Abe, go on a singles cruise.
He lived it.
Dinner will be at 5:30, but you will meet your love of your life.
So he passed away, unfortunately. Rest in peace, Abe. And poor Gabby. I mean, she was going into that surgery, wanted to talk to Abe, and she didn't get the chance.
Yeah, but I mean, so going back to the perspective thing, I think obviously in that storyline, the big pivotal moment was when they were in the closet. Arizona and
April.
April were in the closet, and what the interesting thing is, they kind of switched. So. Arizona all of a sudden has this hope where the past few episodes she's been struggling with Callie. I'm sorry, Callie. Moving on. I am terrible with the names tonight. And then April kind of switches her perspective, and now she's like, I'm basically I'm gonna get divorced, and all of that hope and fight, it seems like, just disappeared in that moment.
It's like they switched a little bit. So Arizona was kind of in the optimist and in Hope Land, where that's where April has been since she came back, right? This season. And then April took on the role of, okay, let me just think what life really is right now, whether I like it or not, but let me at least take it in and take a moment to believe that I could be going down the divorce train.
Yeah, I don't want to find my soulmate when I'm 80. I have it now. I don't want to get a divorce.
Exactly.
And my soulmate wants to divorce me. And it's like, in a way, I don't want to sound mean, but like I had to laugh at this because like this is a real true moment that it was her realization that, hey, she might actually lose the love of her life.
There's some irony there. Yeah. So what do you think changed? Because in the past few episodes, she's been like insanely confident, like, hey, I don't care what happens, we are gonna make it. And now all of a sudden, and like they didn't even, their storyline was, I mean, barely at all even referred to this episode, but she changed like on a dime. What happened?
I don't know. I think last week when she came home and saw that Jackson was gone.
Yeah, that's true.
That's like a real statement. Like, he said before, I'm gonna change the locks. I'm gonna stay here. You have to go. So he was just basically like, if you won't listen to anything I'm saying, I'm just gonna remove myself from a situation. And if I'm not here physically, then you gotta think about at least something what's really going on.
Yeah, and he left. And another person that also left us for a brief was Eddie. Eddie, who, sexual guy, man, but you still got like a lot of laughs out of him. I don't need Viagra.
and let me prove it to you.
Hey,
no.
Eddie seems like the kind of guy I want to grab a drink with. I mean, I like Eddie. Seemed like a good dude, and that was that was one of the hard parts of the episode, is when they had that poor intern go out. And,
and this is where the episode changed. It went from
being funny,
comedic to serious.
Yeah. And one thing why do they hate on those interns so much? It's like every chance they get, they just stomp on them.
I think it's almost a bit going back to like season 1.
Yeah, that's kind of the shtick of the show.
It's kind of the whole.
You're bound to make mistakes.
Yeah, you have to, and that's the way. It's a teaching hospital.
You have to point it out.
Yeah, and they don't coddle it, especially Owen. Being with his background in the military and that type of thing, he's not the person who's going to coddle you. He's going to say, "Here's a lesson you need to learn. This is how you need to do it. Do it.
Poor guy.
Right.
Poor guy."
What did you think of Meredith? Because, well, not to jump too far ahead, but Owen, yes, he gives this mission to the interns. This is how you properly deliver bad news to family members. What did you think of Meredith stepping in her perspective on how to deliver it?
I think that is exactly what they need, because that type of news, and I do appreciate the steps. Like I get the steps.
The 4 L's.
The 4 L's. And I could be wrong, but I think those steps are something were referenced before, if not in this show, another medical show, where it's this type of, what I'm thinking? I'm thinking House. Okay. House, where they always give a formula, right, of calculate, like, this is.
I wonder if that's like real life, the real life steps.
Maybe, like, here are the steps for you to deliver bad news, and this is what you do. And it seems like the steps are very similar. Get in, say what you have to say, be there for the moment, whether it be a touch or a hug, but then get out as quickly as possible.
I'm gonna apply that to like other areas of life, though. You know what I mean?
Well, bad news is bad news, and I'm definitely not saying that telling someone their loved one has passed away is not like important, but bad news is bad news, and I think there is a way of delivering it every single time. But having Meredith give her perspective to these interns, because some of them they were like, Owen's making us do this, and they told me to do step 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's all they had to offer to it. And she just gave a different perspective of, realize who you are. You are changing someone's life forever with the words that you are giving them.
Yeah, and also, if you remember, I mean, how could people forget? Meredith was on that receiving end just recently. Right. Someone told her her husband died, and that the person who delivered the message will always be burned into her memory. We'll get there.
And it'll be burned into ours, too.
Oh, my goodness. But I did love how Meredith was the one who addressed the more nurturing aspect and the more sentimental business.
It fits their characters, right? So emotional. Owen is the military, like these are the steps, regimented, and then she's the more like caring, nurture. Yeah, for sure.
And that scene would have been 3 or 4 seasons. It would have been between Christina and Meredith, because Christina was very methodical in the way she did everything. Absolutely. And she would have entered into, and that's how she used to handle her patients. She would have gone in and gone 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm done. And Meredith would have come to her and said, "What are you doing? It's so much more than that," type of thing. So that was an interesting parallel to me, that I know Christina would have filled those shoes.
Yeah. Anything else about this death delivery. But so we do see the interns actually leave with a better perspective on how to do it, and we also see that one intern, I forget his name, sorry, but at the beginning of the episode we
blonde
see
guy.
blonde
You're
intern.
saying that
Oh
same
my
thing, and
goodness.
she's like, what's his name again? I was like, I just call him blonde guy intern.
I can't find his name.
Yeah, throughout the episode we do see progress of the interns from the
Totally.
beginning.
We do.
With the brain slicing, doing the anatomy, like one of them puked and ran out, and then we see him at the end of the episode now actually learning and teaching himself. So like we did see some progression of the interns.
That beginning shot of the brain slicing, I look over, we're watching the show together, and Tara's,
Oh, it was just gross.
It was the worst but best edit from the brain
when they do the
slice to the
sausages or whatever.
salami.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We'll get there, trust me, we'll get there.
Gross.
But yes, so from serious to a more serious story, Edwards, how this felt like a very dark story, because it was. Was this a surprise to you? We find out that Edwards used to be a sickle cell patient during a trial when she was younger as a kid, and now Amelia's making her help this neuro patient a day after surgery walk. And this is really hard on Edwards. Was this a surprising story to you?
Well, okay, so first of all, maybe I'm just the ignorant dumb guy. I know sickle cell is not good, but I don't know exactly what it is, and maybe I'm just the only one who's watching the show that doesn't know what it is. But maybe for our audience, do you guys know actually what it is? I know it's like some sort of disease or something.
It's a blood cell.
Okay, so
disease
what do they do?
That actually occurs mostly in the majority of African Americans.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the blood cells, and I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, I'm sure someone out there is going to correct
Leave
me.
it in the comments if you're a doctor and you know, or if you're just smart.
Blood cells are actually a different shape, and so as they flow through your body, it becomes very painful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because blood cells, healthy blood cells, are round.
And they have to they have to get them out of you or something
round
like that?
and elliptical and whatnot. And sickle cell, or actually the blood cells, are literally irregular shape.
Right, irregular shape. And so it causes a lot of pain. And there isn't, to my knowledge, any known cure. And it's just you deal with the symptoms.
Okay.
And you can have episodes, I think, where your sickle cell will flare, and so you're in a lot more pain than other times. And they didn't go into detail as to what the sickle cell did. It didn't say if it cured her. Or,
no,
it didn't
think
say.
It was just the foundation for why Edwards was so emotionally traumatized by this. And I did a little bit of research after this episode that there has been many sickle cell anemia tests, and that was used on children. But these children trials, have become very successful. So
the children trials are not supposed to be they're painful, but they're not supposed to be like a bad sadistic.
No, it's
okay, they're not viewed as bad. Okay,
be, but
all right.
I guess in Edward's case, it was very traumatizing for her as
okay.
a child.
Okay,
absolutely.
And they said on the show that it was a success. So okay, right on.
And so like I did love how this story did take a positive outcome out of it, but I was just surprised how dark they went with this type of character for a background story for her.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere, and I think that's one of the issues I may have with Grey's. There's so many people now, right?
Yeah.
There's so many people. The cast just in any given episode is so long. So there are times where you feel like certain characters don't really have any type of story. And we've been waiting a long time. At least I have been waiting a long time for Stephanie to have one. I think the last major story she had was maybe when she was dating Jackson. Yeah, and he left her to marry April. So we've been kind of waiting for something for her, and this was so unexpected as a backstory. And definitely in this instance where you have like a patient who just came out of surgery. Like, I can understand the connect, but she had to make the connect for me. Like, if they would have just said she was a sickle cell anemia, patient, I wouldn't have made the connect. So they had to connect the dots for me.
Yeah. What did you think how with this whole story going on, Joe, this really pitted Joe against her and making Joe, as we can tell as an audience, is making Joe acting out of jealousy, because we see Edwards these past 3 episodes. Edwards is always getting the win, and Joe's kind of in a way getting the shaft on operations.
Or she thinks she's getting the shaft.
It's the whole mentality.
I think that's going to be a main storyline moving forward for sure. And I was reading a little bit before we came on the show here about just season 12 and some of the things that we're going to be the rumors of what was going to be developed in season 12. And one of the things that Shonda said was that they were going to be developing Stephanie's storyline very strongly through season 12. And one of the other things that was really interesting that I read was the sickle cell storyline was actually they were trying to figure out where to take Stephanie's story in season 12, and the person who pitched it was actually Jerika Hinton, who plays Stephanie, and she actually pitched the storyline, Stephanie's storyline, to Shonda before season 12, and pitched the sickle cell anemia thing because she had a cousin who was struggling, who had gone through that same experience, and so that's kind of where it came from. So it's a pretty close to her heart issue.
And there was a big breakthrough fairly recently in 2014 with all these trials on children, that there's a positive outcome and they can not fairly cure it, but like they can help prevent it.
Oh wow.
So and that was a more recent development, so maybe it's on the brain.
I will say for this episode, I know that Richard cornered Amelia and said, "You've been working with this girl. She's been your right-hand person. Why were you so quick to not believe her or to believe Joe over her?" But I understood that question. But my question also was, Joe and Stephanie, of all of the, what are they? They're not interns anymore. They're residents, right? They're residents, first or second year residents. The two of them have always been very close. But I mean, as you develop a friendship with someone, you don't know everything about them. So if someone states some type of story like this, why would you immediately think she was lying? Like, I was taken aback by Joe's questioning of her. It wasn't a thing of, are you serious? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that about you. And then Stephanie could decide to play it like I lied, because she did ultimately, in the beginning say, play it like I'm lying. Right. But it just really, I was really taken aback that Joe automatically jumped to the fact that accused. You're just, why would you make up a lie? And
I think it's jealousy. And like I said,
exactly.
What I think that there's going to be more to this story that they're going to develop as the show goes on. That I feel like there's probably something in their relationship that they have not revealed to us yet. That's maybe happened in the past. Something's going on there. Something. Because I was too quick.
It was, right?
And
okay.
We've seen with the current doctors now, back in the earlier seasons, there was always intern against intern, who could get the most operations, whatever. So they've always been pitted each against each other. It's like frenemies in a way. Right. And I think that's also maybe, like you're saying, Joe, maybe there is a story between those two that always caused each other to be competitive in that way.
But I mean, I do believe, like, way back in the day, we know Alex would try to steal procedures from Meredith.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they always did that, but it was never this type of, it was always friendly competition. Like, I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, not like a serious,
it wasn't like this.
Personal.
Yeah, this was a personal attack on her character that went way beyond just trying to get a surgery.
And it really made Joe a very dislikable character.
Very much so.
The past few episodes, she's come across as like very immature, very immature. And I don't know if they're meaning to do that, or if something's coming. If they're gonna, I don't know. But her character has come across as very immature and very. Just very unlikable the past few episodes. I don't know.
I agree.
Very interesting at the same time that Alex is becoming this very mature, calm, like center found. Like, look at him in the car today. I mean, on the episode day, he was in the car with all these ladies. They're talking about Maggie and whatever, and he was like, "I'm not even listening. Like, I've gone through this so much, I'm not even listening." Alex of the past would have been like, "What? Where were you? Did he throw you up here? I would have done better." Like, he would have just been a complete different character. Right. Alex is becoming this foundational type of solid dude, and Joe is, I don't even know, like.
And especially you look at what happened in the last episode. Was that the last episode with the kid, the baby, or is that episode 2?
Yeah, last episode.
Last episode, what happened with the whole father storyline. So he like kind of settling down as a character.
He's grown up.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm loving all these carpool conversations.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting a lot of them. But
time out. Really Wait, fun. I was wondering about this. Tonight's episode, it was an Audi, wasn't it? And last week it was a Lexus.
Oh, are they changing sponsors?
I don't know, but something fishy's going on there.
What's going on in the world of sponsorship?
Alex was driving today.
Oh, so that's true.
It could have been his car.
That's true. I'm just saying something's gone awry.
But either way, they drive nice vehicles.
They really do.
So, what do we think of Maggie's story? Because we saw at the end of last episode, she sleeps with DeLuca, and in the beginning of this episode, she wakes up with DeLuca.
Right.
And Amelia also sees too. But are we liking Maggie and DeLuca together? I will just say, I personally don't. I saw it coming last week, and I still don't see a future for this.
I have such a hard time with Maggie's character since the first frame of her being on the show. Last season or
Really?
it's
Specifically with her character or with like the acting of it?
No,
Like-
not the actress.
Okay,
Not
just the actual
like,
character.
The
Okay.
character, what they're doing with it, her quirkiness, her her being so uncomfortable in her own skin, and even like last episode when she got so upset about the fact that her ex-boyfriend was dating someone. They dated for like I think 6 months, and so I can tell she's really trying to figure things out. But at that ending scene of the two of them and he throws her up against the wall, I didn't feel it. I didn't sense it. I didn't get any chemistry
It
from
felt forced.
It did. It felt really, really forced.
I totally
to me.
disagree. I am the same as you. I didn't like her character at all. It just didn't fit. I didn't really get it. But it's funny, you guys felt the exact opposite way that I did. That last scene, I was like, okay, I know what's gonna happen. I know they're probably gonna start, and then they start making out. And as it kind of like as the whole scene progresses, I'm kind of like, okay, like I kind of could see this. I could see this working out, happening. You know, I'm a believer.
I mean, he's hot. He throws you up against the door, I can see it happening too for the next, however many minutes. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I didn't feel it. It didn't feel real to me. It didn't feel like, how many other situations have we had? It didn't feel like a Derek or a Meredith or even a Christina or a Owen. It just didn't feel like any of those couples that we've had in the past. I just didn't feel the same heat.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, I still don't see it. I feel it's forced. It's a relationship. I don't even want to call it a relationship.
Yeah.
Let's not even label it.
Right.
It's an acquaintance out of convenience.
I'm saying it's the new Derek and Meredith. That's the
no,
Jay Howard prediction
no.
coming at you.
No, pen throwing down.
Oh,
no.
Jay.
I'm just kidding about that.
Okay, thank goodness.
I'm just kidding about that.
please.
I don't want to get ripped
No,
apart in the
it's way too
comments.
soon for
You know,
that.
like, how dare you?
I would say the Jay shift is
Just
going
kidding.
down.
Just kidding. It's a joke. Relax.
No, because and then I did. Granted, the storyline did bring some levity to everything that happened in tonight's episode, but also her conversation with Meredith and be like, "Who sleeps with their with their intern?
I
Like,
love
the
that.
father of my children."
Yeah, I kind of love that.
So I loved how they kind of related in that way.
Yeah.
Now that
I feel like they're kind of beating the crap out of the sleeping with the intern joke. It's like, okay, how many times? Okay, we get it. The same joke. We understand.
No, but I loved how Meredith addressed it. It's that whole self-awareness. Like, everyone sleeps with each other. There's been inappropriate sex everywhere. We had sex in this room.
Yeah.
And, I loved how they actually addressed that to the audience.
Because I think it is a
'cause
fact.
Who hasn't slept with each other? Let's think. Yeah, that's hard
yeah,
It's
to
gonna be a
think.
long
really
show.
long.
It's gonna be a long show, ladies and
Exactly.
gentlemen.
Too long. But so we got that. That's still unfortunately probably gonna keep happening. Who knows how long there's gonna last?
Yeah.
It's not gonna last long.
But I did like the conversation, as you were saying, between Maggie and Meredith, because it was kind of the first time that Meredith really revealed where she was, on that, where she was on that perspective.
And mentally, and just where
Right.
she is in life. The fact she's not thinking of Derek anymore. She doesn't think of sex anymore.
And that's so
And
different.
I don't know if they're gonna change that in season 12. I don't know if they're setting her up that way so that they can make her go the exact opposite way, or if they're setting her up that way so that we kind of get that out, we get it out of our heads, hey, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's just,
Are they preparing us, or are they trying to catch us off guard?
yeah, it's interesting where her mentality is at, because a few seasons ago, Meredith was always worried that she was going to become her mother, who
Right.
only focused on medicine and forgot about life, forgot about the possibility of marrying and having a love of her life and having children, having a house, whatever. And she didn't want, medicine to rule her. So that's why she started a family with Derek and whatnot. And now it's kind of getting back to that, where Meredith, the only thing she has to focus on is literally medicine.
But I think the difference is that, her mom was so intense and didn't allow anything except Richard in medicine. Those were the only two things it seems like Meredith's mom cared about, Richard, and that didn't work out, in medicine. But I think the thing that I enjoyed about Meredith's speech or monologue or conversation with Maggie is that she said so many things, vagina, whatever, is the orgasm train is gone.
The orgasm train is gone.
All that stuff.
Girl.
Lady Town and Lady City and Lady Land.
That's going to be a long life for
That's
you.
a long life. But what she did say that I thought was really important to say is, but I'm happy. It wasn't as if she was saying all that and she was like, I'm sad and I'm miserable. And she was like, but I'm okay. I'm happy. I've had that.
Is she?
See,
that's a good question.
I think she was actually saying the opposite. I think it was like one of those, like, I'm happy and you're actually like dead inside.
Okay.
That's the way I read it.
I got it. Like, she was like, I am, despite what's happened to me, I'm happy because I've had that. I've had the guy who throws me up against the wall, and we have the great kids, and and I'm now I'm a chief of whatever she is, general surgery or whatever. She's like, I'm overall happy. You're right. That may change later on, but I think it was the first time he got any type of glance or window or look into any of that kind of real stuff, except the medicine. They've been focusing so much on her and the medicine. And
that's my point. Is you made my point in kind of like the opposite way when you said it's really all about the medicine now. But my response is like, well, Grey's Anatomy is not about medicine.
Yeah.
It's a show about relationships, and it uses like medicine and doctors as a vehicle. As a backdrop. And so you saying, well, she's finally getting back to just about the medicine. I'm like, well, okay, then something's going on, because that's not what this show's about.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we all thought that she was going to be the one who was going to start with the hot intern who looks like Derek but really doesn't look like Derek, and now they've thrown him to Maggie. So
but
that's unexpected.
No, I'm happy that the intern didn't end up with Meredith.
Yeah, me too.
Because,
That's too obvious
again, that
to
would
me,
have been a complete disservice and totally ruining the whole Derek Meredith relationship way too soon.
That would have been a big old eye roll. That would have been a big old eye roll.
I totally agree.
It's like he would have lost a lot of fans just doing that. So, granted, it was Maggie. I still don't approve. But bringing this all back, the major twist at the end of the night. And we should have seen it coming. Especially when
Meredith totally caught me off guard.
Especially when Meredith delivers a 3-minute, very, very deep speech of being like, you never forget the face who delivers bad news to you.
Yeah, we were slipping.
Sure enough, Penny.
It got me.
Penny.
Totally.
Penny.
Wait, is her name Penny or Patty?
Penny. Callie's girlfriend. The redhead,
oh my
who
gosh,
delivered the bad news and also operated on Derek at the end of last season,
and was the one who didn't open her
came to
mouth.
That dinner party.
Yeah, she was the one who didn't open her mouth, who could have saved Derek. Because she was saying that what Derek was saying.
Bringing it back.
What Derek was saying in his mind of check this. And I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm sure you guys will tell me. Check this. She was thinking the same thing, but didn't have the guts to stand up and say it.
Yeah.
And that was one of and that's what she.
Or
that's what
did she? And the other doctor said, no, we don't have enough time for that. And Derek, his whole inner monologue was like, no, you do have enough time.
You do have time.
And then Meredith at the end of that episode, like, no, you had enough time to do that.
And she had the conversation with
bringing
Penny,
it all back up.
Yeah, she said it was your responsibility to take care of him. Remember they had that whole conversation sitting outside the hospital. So of course Meredith will never forget this woman's face. I don't know how we forgot it. Caught us slipping.
It's stuff like that's why Grey's Anatomy has gone on for 12 seasons. It's because you're kind of like, okay, we feel like the story's kind of slowing down, and like, oh, okay, what's next, and then boom, they come out of nowhere. And I didn't really get it at first. For the first like 30 seconds, you're kind of like, well, who is that? Like, she looks kind of familiar. And then they do like the flashbacks, and you're like, oh,
totally. And the fact that because they always mention the line, you never forget the face. We didn't really get the name either.
Right.
When back in the end of the last season. So we just knew it was a doctor. We didn't really get her name. And then now putting a face and a name together.
Gotcha.
Ooh, that was a stab to the heart.
It was. And it was a setup from like season 11, episode whatever, because that was the whole point of Derek having the accident away from Seattle. So they could bring
playing the long game.
Because I thought to myself, I was like, wait a minute,
the disconnect.
Arizona and Cali and everyone at this hospital is so close. The fact that they had that they had that plane accident and bought that hospital. You can't tell me that there aren't doctors everywhere who know about this, right? Like Derek's name should have been everywhere, like plastered everywhere. How could Cali and Penny and Meredith not make this connection? But it was the way the whole thing was set up.
Okay, so now that Penny is back into the story, do you think this will be the catalyst of the storyline of actually having Meredith face the guilt or the remorse of losing Derek? Because we always said the audience didn't really see her grieve.
Right.
Do you think this will actually force Meredith to grieve now?
100%.
I think if it's going to, just like it's bringing it back to all of us, it has to bring it back to her, full circle. I mean, it was right there. And did you see her face when she opened the door? She knew instantly who that woman was. And Callie was like, hi, why is everyone looking so strange? Like, what is going on? I brought a nice bottle of wine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she didn't know what was even going on.
Meredith would have been like, I will take that.
Right.
You know what's funny? We use the hashtag ABTV Grays, and we watch the show on the West Coast, so we're like an hour or two behind the East Coast. And Jacqueline tweeted at us using the hashtag ABT Graves, and all that was said was OMG, 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 the ending, OMG, OMG.
Oh my gosh!
Can't wait to hear AfterBuzz talk about it and hear their opinion tonight. So I knew something went down, but I didn't know when it was. I was like, all right, well, I better get ready because something's happening.
That was a twist, and I don't want to speak for all of us, but that I think it's fair to say all of us were thrown by that.
I had my hands up.
You, the audience.
Oh, you did one of those?
I did.
Oh,
I was like this. I was like, what are you talking about? What just happened?
That's the universal, like, am I all alone here? Am I like the only one who...
Mouth is open. What just happened? What just happened?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so is there anything else about this episode we didn't cover or you'd like to talk about other than that crazy ending? That dinner party, that salami looked great, but not after that brain slice cut.
I think the Richard scene in the end kind of summed up the whole thing of how like you were saying, how we all have moved from one place to the other by the time this episode was over. You started with a kid who saw the brain and he vomited, and now he's able to take the brain, cut the brain. So we're all kind of processing and learning. And we're learning and we're moving and we're growing in different places. Like I remember that when I thought about Amelia and Stephanie, she hugged her. I was like, oh, but aren't you becoming more like Derek every single day? The one thing you could say about Derek was he was a great surgeon, but he was also a fantastic teacher. And the one thing that I know, I'm not a huge fan of Amelia's character, but I've always thought she does not want to be her brother. She does not want to be thought of like her brother, but she's becoming her brother in a good way because she's becoming a better teacher, more vulnerable, like actually having emotion and passion. And Derek was fantastic with that.
Yeah, and I think Amelia did a good job, pushing that storyline. Sometimes you do have to push patients for the better, for good, to make themselves better. So as tough as it was to see that poor neuro patient try to walk 2 feet to a chair.
That was hard.
In the end.
Oh, you're talking about okay. I thought you were talking about okay, I wasn't laughing at the girl. No. I thought you were talking about the guy cutting the brain.
For the bigger picture, it was like for a better outcome in the end. So I will applaud Amelia trying to teach in that way too.
Right.
And it seems like that's kind of a theme of the whole season is people growing.
Yeah.
People developing,
I think it's just moving forward.
Yeah. Through the hard times. Yeah. You have to get through the rough patch to get to
more
the other
so
side.
than other seasons. Like people moving forward and growing as people.
Yeah.
Individually almost.
Physically and mentally.
Right.
All right. So let's get to predictions, shall we?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Jay, what do you have? What do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to say that Penny is going to get a job at the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
She's going to have some specialty that no one else has, and they're going to hire her. And then, I don't know, her and Meredith will probably end up being sisters or something. I don't know. But she will end up getting a job at the hospital this season.
Do you think Meredith has enough power to say, no, we can't hire her? Now that she's higher up in the staff?
Well, see, I think that was something that someone commented upon last week saying, how did Bailey decide what Meredith was going to get paid? Because Meredith owns this hospital. I think we've kind of forgotten that this season, right?
I was wondering that too.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Kind of a logic
Meredith should know what everyone's being paid because she's one of the sole owners of this whole
she's a
entire
partner.
hospital kind of thing.
She's aboard.
But Jay, you I thought that as you were saying it, I was like, this chick is gonna end up in this hospital.
You just looked at my notes.
No,
I saw you eyeing them.
I promise
I'm gonna.
Again, hands are up, mouth is open. I'm innocent.
Keep your eyes over there.
My prediction is, as much as we are going to want Meredith to blow up the scene at this dinner party next week and tell everyone who Penny is, she will not, and it will be several episodes before she reveals who Penny is. But I
really? You think it's going to take that long?
It's going to go down at the dinner party. I'm telling you.
I know they teased it, and it made it seem as if Meredith. It's
going to be a food fight.
It's not their style. It's, for whatever reason, Grace doesn't have that kind of confrontational type of thing. Like, it may be 5 episodes from now, and Bailey may take Penny and throw up against in a corner and give her a speech or whatever. But
you're really into throwing people up against the wall.
No, I'm just saying.
Whether it's like a good or bad.
I'm saying no, Bailey. I'm just saying.
Calm down.
Yeah, I'm just. I mean, but like Bailey does all the time. Like, she'll corner someone and give them a speech or whatever. But that kind of, we're all together and we're going to reveal who Penny is. That just doesn't seem like Grey's Anatomy style to me. I don't think they're going to announce it. We're going to want it, but it's not going to come out for several episodes after she gets the job at the hospital.
Right.
I'm totally with you.
You may be right.
It's as believable as your prediction is, Jay, that Penny will become part of the hospital. You have to do background checks. They're going to realize she worked at the hospital that Derek died at. They're going to be like, no, sorry, girl, get up.
Yeah, but I mean, also the same thing with that. We go back to the same thing. They forget that Meredith and Callie and Arizona and all those people own the hospital. So if it conveniently we can drop that detail to the side, it will be dropped to the side.
I think it might, for just sake, they'll address it at the dinner party that we will actually see next week, and I think there might be some awkward moments, but it will trail on the aftermath of it will trail on for maybe 5 more episodes, and we'll actually see Meredith grieve. Yeah, so that's what I think happened,
and hopefully see some kids appear out of.
Yeah, we'll actually see Meredith grieve and believe, because we heard her say a lot tonight, I'm a widow, I'm a widow, I'm a widow, and it's more like repetitive motion, kind of like a mantra in a way, but in a bad way.
That is a great point. Where are her freaking kids?
I don't know where her kids. I mean, what is it? Zola may be like 14 now. You know how they do on television. Do you know what I mean? But I'd love that kid, so I would like to see these kids.
Yeah. Okay.
We want the kids.
She pays a lot of daycare.
We want all the kids.
She had to sell Alexis.
Yeah, like,
where are Kelly's kids?
Where's Kelly's kid? Like, yeah, we want the kids.
All right. Well, great episode.
Yeah,
I really
was
did
good.
enjoy this. Everyone, where can everyone follow you?
You can follow me at JLives1 on Periscope.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TJ Wagging Her Tail.
Awesome. And you can follow all of us here at AfterBuzz on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all those fun social media platforms at AfterBuzz TV, and tweet at us at the hashtag ABTVGrays. You can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. You can follow Julie, who will be back, at Julie Parton. Great episode. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.